Welcome to the very first episode of the xYOUTHGROUPx podcast. I am your co-host, Ryan Ward. This is Anthony Thickpen. This is Taylor Moser. Two of my friends from a very long time. For a very long time.
Too long.
We are in a band together called Whitsett, and we are self-proclaimed the version 2 of what we call youth group emo. It's all youth group emo is the bands from the late 90s, early 2000s, mid 2000s. That is what we classify as youth group emo. We classify ourselves as the second wave. But we have this pretty good size Spotify playlist that's all these old songs, and it kind of inspired the idea of wouldn't it be cool to do a podcast talking about a lot of that music, talking to a lot of people in a lot of those bands, and that's why you're here. That's why this exists. This is xYouthGroupx, and I'm gonna let someone else talk. Thig.
Oh boy, what do you want to know? What do you want to know?
Threw it in your lap there.
I know you did. I don't like that at all.
Tell me how you came to tell me your youth group story.
Yeah, I mean, youth group story for me, I was the classic kid where my mom wouldn't let me listen to anything cool. And so all my friends are listening to, all the cool bands in the world. Yeah, in the world. And I was over here listening to Plus One and FFH and Avalon. I'll be testifying to love, Lord. Brother. Come on. Yeah, and then we got into when I was actually a youth group musician and worship leader and all that stuff. And I think the irony about the playlist thing is that we took playlists so serious.
Oh yeah.
Remember we called it playlist pastor.
Oh yeah, I was a playlist pastor. I'm the only.
He's the only playlist pastor.
Playlist pastor.
So it was funny because, especially in emo stuff and hardcore stuff, all of my friends listened to that, but I did not. I was the ambient indie worship kid. And so the playlists are actually where I was educated on that style of music. And so it was really funny how
I guess you could almost say probably mix CDs.
Yeah,
if you want to go back.
Literally, yeah. I mean, I had mixed CDs with stuff in my car that had the world's music on it, and then as my mom would say, and
sorry,
then
Robin,
stuff that had cool Christian bands. So yeah, I mean, it was definitely youth group for me where I feel like I was kind of enlightened and put into a different perspective on different music stuff in that time and era. So
I think it's important to say kind of early on. How old are you?
33.
That's what I
34
thought.
Next week.
Yeah. Okay. I'm 32. Thig's 32. So we are on the slightly younger side of things compared to. Just to drop this, we in 2 episodes from now, our first guest is Joe Mustin, and Joe is 10 years older than us.
Yeah.
And just his experience being older, and a lot of the people we're going to talk to is older. Yeah, I'm not going to name drop, but a lot of the people that we're going to talk to are older than us.
Right.
So it's an interesting of hearing this from not the
we were the consumers.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yes.
Yeah.
We were the consumers of the first, generation of this stuff, but we were also the kids that got to finally have cool youth stuff.
I mean, and those guys caught hell for even being, not Christian-like, because at that time, too, is and of course, Stryper and old school.
Shout out Dave Rose. Shout out Stryper.
Yeah. But I mean, that was not of God to have rock or rap or anything like that. It was not right, which is so crazy. It's let's just all go back to Beethoven and just play a piano and put it in the church and call it a day. So.
Taylor, what was your youth group kind of story?
I feel like that. I mean, Thig and I have talked about this before. We have kind of a similar story in the fact that, I just wasn't allowed to listen to a lot of that stuff. I remember being super young, and my parents, my mom specifically, she was a big country music fan. Yeah. So, but then she got convicted about listening to country music, I guess.
Not
and then
Garth.
We listened to nothing but I don't know, whatever was on the radio at the time. I don't know if it was K-Love at that point, maybe where we are, but it was just all CCM stuff. And so I remember in 3rd grade getting introduced to Chris Rice, Stephen Curtis Chapman, those kinds of things. And then in youth group, it became, I got really into music at that point. A lot of my other friends were doing sports and different things. And I was one of the first, we were all the people wearing tighter jeans before anybody else.
Yeah.
The amount of times, I got a tangent on this real quick.
I'd love to.
The amount of people that wear skinny jeans today that did not have. This is not. I'm not saying this is as bad as what some other groups went through.
We paved the way for
But
skinny jeans.
I got made fun of every day in middle school, and I wore Volcom Jeff Rowley jeans and did not care.
Dude, yeah. And I grew up like out in the more rural part, and everybody that I was around, my dad was a firefighter, so I was around like country firefighters,
man the man,
dipping the lip, mowing the yard kind of thing.
That's who you are today.
I could do all of that. I could do all of that, but my jeans were significantly tighter. And, did not fit in very well. But I got really into music and started listening to a lot of the bands that, you know, we're going to talk about on this podcast, and cool enough get to like actually interview some people from those bands. But it was definitely like in those youth group settings, making those playlists, like you were saying, dropping them into iTunes, freaking LimeWire.
Oh yeah, I stole a lot of things off of that. Past the statute, right?
Dude, the amount of people
Can
that
we
we're
talk about that?
the amount of people that we're probably gonna like talk to that we've stolen their music.
Oh, I know. Yeah, like
Absolutely.
I'm sorry that you're not playing music anymore.
If
because
we ever
I stole
have
money
Chris
from you.
Caraba on, I have so much apologizing.
I have to give
for
him
that.
money.
Yeah, I owe him like $8 at least.
At
I know
least
what streaming
$8.
pays, yeah.
At
Probably Reliant
least.
K too. I probably owe them. Well, at this point, they may owe me. No.
But I mean, I remember, you know, getting my first, of course, CDs and like getting my license and, you know, being able to play music and stuff. You can judge me all you want, but a lot of it was like Skillet, Pillar.
I love Pillar.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Anything with guitars, because I wasn't.
That's fair.
I wasn't really exposed to a lot of that in what I had been.
No, dude, the
listening
first two Skillet records are fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's
What's the
the
first
time
one
that I'm
called?
talking about.
I can't remember. I can see it
Well,
in my head.
there's Alien Youth. And
Alien
then
Youth and
there's,
Collide.
Yeah, Collide.
Yep.
Those are fine. I can get behind those. My faith, my family, my freedom. I'm not with that one.
Yeah, no.
No,
The one that I
lost
listened
me.
to the most when I got my license was the next one that had like Comatose and that, which I still like that album a lot.
That's fair.
I definitely like Collide a lot too. But yeah.
Dude, what's crazy though is like even in, I guess what I would say probably approaching middle school, and we had WoW CDs in the car. And remember all the harder bands would be like on the bonus track sections.
Oh yeah.
I mean, my mom would even very much so kind of put up an argument to not listen to those songs, which would have been our Reliant K's and our PODs and Pillars. Like they were on those bonus track sections, and she'd be like, "Mm-mm." And I'm like, "Well, it's WoW though."
I just don't like that music.
I just don't like it.
Which is so funny because in this time, we're shooting this in November. We are campaigning to try to make WoW Goes Pop Punk.
We're going to do it.
We're working on it. I promise. I know a lot of bands have messaged me or the band account and have said like, I want to do it. I want to do this, dude. It's Capitol owns the rights, and until Capitol gives us the okay, I wish it was still in integrity because that would make our lives really easy right now.
Be awesome.
But Capitol owns the rights. But I think there's a lot of people that would really get behind a WoW Goes Pop Punk, and you know, we're doing our best. So I grew up church God. My fire brimstone, the whole nine. Exactly, dude. The amount of people I saw pass out on every Sunday. We should have had an ambulance.
Yeah.
We should have had medical emergencies there.
You did. It was called the Altar Team.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, dude, they put
towels?
them down. No,
Buddy,
they would
no.
take dudes' jackets, put it over women's legs, and be like,
be a gentleman.
yeah.
Hey, the Holy Spirit is a gentleman. Did you ever hear that phrase growing up?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
No.
You never heard that?
No.
They're like, the Holy Spirit is a gentleman. And I'm like, is the Holy Spirit a...
Is this something your mom said?
No, I heard that crap a lot, dude. It was crazy.
I hear that now.
Still,
I heard it an hour
still
ago.
to this day.
I just got a text.
But okay, yeah, mine. I mean, I grew up in that. My music experience growing up was all like, my dad was very into 80s hair metal. I'm not telling, especially you. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. I grew up liking Bon Jovi. I grew up liking. I don't want to go into that story, but I grew up loving Bon Jovi, stuff like that, and moved into Stryper when I was maybe 10 or 11. My drum kit in my room was fully taped yellow and black. And then the first thing I heard was my grandmother took me to the Christian bookstore. I've told this story on various things. Grandmother takes me to the Christian bookstore and is like, we got to get you some better music. And I was like, dude, Striper's a Christian band, but all right.
I agree with Grandma.
It was like, we gotta get you some better music. And the first thing I pick out was Anatomy of Tongue in Cheek, Reliant K. And I was like, all right, bet I want this one. I'm pretty sure that's exactly how I said it. No, I was like, I want this one. And I got in the car like the next day and drove. We went to the beach. And me and my friend Travis at the time, that's the whole album and, your little personal things. I don't know how we split the headphones, but we did. I've always figured out, I don't know how
Radio
we did that.
Shack.
I always had a
Radio
cable,
Shack. I always had a cable. Still always have a cable.
Absolutely.
And we listened to that album. I must have listened to Sadie Hawkins Dance hundreds of times on that trip. But that was the thing for me. And then obviously in youth group side of things, it was being at Trinity where you're at now. And one of my good friends' uncle was the youth group leader and just empowered us to do whatever. And we were all youth group is how I learned a lot of these bands. I've told Stephen Keach from why am I blanking on Stephen's band's name? Oh my gosh.
Is he Haste the Day?
Yes, Haste the Day. Sorry.
I was like,
my
oh God,
gosh.
am I gonna get it wrong?
Oh my gosh. I told Steven, I was like, dude, I first found out about Haste the Day because my youth group band played Chorus of Angels.
Nice.
And Zach sang it, and I was like, that's how I found out about it. That's how I found out about As CDs Burns, Edison Glass, all of these CDs that were at the Christian bookstore, but not like, they kept Reliant K, Switchfoot, Audio Adrenaline, FM Static. They kept them at the front of the rock section. They did not keep Under Oath at the front.
Right.
They did not keep Emery.
It was like the next wave of no, honestly.
Yeah, there was levels to
Yep.
no. Pause. I don't like that. But there was levels to what we were allowed to listen to.
Yeah.
So I think this is the moment where I'd like to take a second and kind of explain a little more about what this podcast is. So our idea here is to talk to bands, talk about, we're going to talk about records, we're going to talk about things, but a lot of the interview stuff, we're going to talk to bands, figure out why they made a lot of the decisions they made. A lot of the bands that we grew up to were all Christian bands. I mean, this is going to, come up a lot. But a lot of them weren't Christian bands because they set out their initial goal to be a Christian band. So I know some of these bands set out like, hey, we're going to be a band. We're going to do this. We're not necessarily not. We're not. I mean, we've had this conversation.
Sure.
Like, we're not necessarily not. Oh, there's an open door in this Christian space, and all we've got to do is switch to say we're a Christian band, say these things in our songs, and it all hits.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of bands like that, and I think I want to kind of talk to a lot of these people, talk about their business of their band, why certain decisions were made, why they chose a path like that, what it did to them as a band, not necessarily them as people, but what it did to them as a band and where they are now and all that. There's a lot of bands that we'll talk to that are started as a Christian thing, maybe or not started as a Christian thing and now nowhere close to it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of bands we'll talk to that are full circle. They started one way, they're still that day true and true. So let me look directly to camera and say this now. People are going to say things on this podcast, probably us as well. People are going to say things on this podcast that we know are going to be controversial to a large Christian audience. That's kind of the point. The point of this is to not necessarily like pinpoint and pick people out for doing certain things, but it's just to understand a lot of these guys were under a lot of pressure by labels and different things to be a certain way. And there's a lot of bands you didn't get to see their authentic self, and you got to see it later, and it rubbed you the wrong way one way or the other because they were forced to be in a certain box.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say who should be what, who should believe what. That is not that's not the point of this.
Yeah.
That's what you want. Watch something else. This is not a deconstruction podcast where we just shit talk Jesus the whole time. Yep. That's not happening at all either. That's not the point. The point of this is to figure out why and to like kind of dive in. I'm diving deep.
Come on.
The point is to dive deep, figure out why certain business decisions were made and how that affected them as people, how that affected their music.
Yeah.
Because ultimately that was our thing as the consumer was like, okay, we got to hear, let's use Under Oath. We got to hear they're only chasing safety in these songs that were very Christian, positive Christian. Obviously, they come from the Dallas background, which is very, we hear all this stuff, and then things change from them years later. Why did those things change? What, obviously there's tons of episodes and podcasts where people have done where they've talked to Spencer or talked to Aaron, and they figured out why they fell away from the faith. But or whatever you want to say, that's lame. But my thought there is like, why did they make certain decisions from a business standpoint to keep under oath a certain way? Why did they do this? Because people are people. They make their own decisions. They're for usually what's in their best interest, and that's fine. Totally, I do that all the time.
Yeah.
But the idea here is, how did they make those decisions together as a band, and how did that, So that's kind of the idea of this podcast. Like I said, people are going to say some things you don't like. Mm-hmm. That's okay. Honestly, I feel like if there's any time to be open and listen to people, it's now.
Yep.
And this is not going to be a podcast where we can just speak on, it's not a point to just have disagreements and things like that, but it's a point for just to hear people out.
Yep.
Sure.
That's what I was going to say. I feel like we want to do something that I don't want to put it in a box, but what, in my opinion, Christians do terribly, which is just listen. No one listens well. Everyone wants to just jump to whatever they believe, and that just sucks sometimes.
Yeah.
Need to be better listeners.
So that's kind of our goal here. So that being said, let me pull out my trusty phone and see what we've got. We've got some fun stuff for the next one, and I want to make sure we don't overshoot all that.
Yeah.
I can't. Okay, let's do this. So we're going to kind of wrap this episode up. We're making this one short because the next one's going to be a little bit longer. We're going to go into more of a subject matter, figure some stuff out. But this is just our intro episode just to say what's going on. We're going to close this out with our top 5 favorite youth group albums.
This is the pilot episode.
This is the
Are we
pilot.
doing all 5? Each person do all 5 to kind of talk about them?
Are we doing ascending and descending? I don't know.
Go from...
Just go one at a time, and we'll just
So
talk
5 to
about
1.
it.
Can we go from
Yeah.
last to first?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
You
that's fine.
start.
If they're in an
me
order.
start?
You're the one that wants to
Well, I
start.
was just asking.
Mine aren't going to be in an order. I don't think they have to be.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Mine are in
Yours-
order
If
for
yours
sure.
are, tell us.
Yes.
Like, I want to know.
Because my order can change.
Yeah.
I bet it will. All right, so I've said this 1,000 times to y'all, but I am the worst music listening musician in the world. Like, I am the guy who, if I hear something that I actually love, like a song or two, I will wear those songs out. Like, I don't know what it is, but like if something connects with me, I'm a bad album listener. But
You're a singles guy.
I'm a singles guy, yeah.
Because he is single.
I'm not.
I was just kidding, case.
Okay, so my number 5 is Never Take Friendship Personal, and it's literally solely because of Day Late Friend. Like that song when Justin Fulp, shout out to Justin if you ever watch this. I remember this is a great story. He literally, my dad's company built his family's house, and that's how I ended up in the same school as him. And then I became friends with Justin, and I was going to hang out with him at his house one day. I was like 14, he was 16, and he had his license, and I didn't even have a learner's permit yet. And Justin looked at me and he said, "The only way we're getting home is if you drive." And I was like, "No." And he was like, "Yes." And so I literally drove home his car with no permit, no nothing. And that was the start of an amazing friendship with Justin. But that evening, Justin...
Honestly, sounds about right.
Yeah, I know. It sounds straight on track with Justin. But that night, he was like, "Hey, have you heard the song before?" And it was Day Late Friend. And I loved it. Like everything about it, melody, the way it was laid out, sequence, everything. It was amazing.
Great song.
So number 4 would be Southern Weather, almost. And that makes a lot of sense for me because just being a worship kid my whole life, I loved it. It was like the one thing our whole friend group could be like, "That's freaking awesome."
Yeah.
So loved that. And then this is my plot twist one at number 3. This is
I have a plot just when I have
Okay,
one
good.
too.
So I was never amazing at singing harmonies, and you would expect me to like listen to a bunch of like normal things to learn how to sing harmonies, but I learned how to sing harmonies, and this is going to be why it's really funny, to Someday Came Suddenly by Attack Attack. Because of all their sing parts. I know. Isn't that weird?
Yeah. No,
Was Attack Attack? Yeah, I guess they were.
It was 07.
I guess
Yeah.
they were a
That
youth
record
group
was
band.
07,
No,
dude.
absolutely, yeah.
Absolutely, they were.
Well, there's albums that came out like I wouldn't consider Louder Now, Taking Back Sunday. I don't consider that a youth group album.
No.
But I guess you're right. Attack Attack kind of had that.
Yeah, no,
Well, they were. They were in our
Absolutely.
youth group playlist. They were everything. I mean, my alarm
Yeah,
was
that's
that
right.
intro to that record.
Yeah.
Every single, seriously, through high school. I loved it.
Shout out Crabcore.
I know, right? Come on. And then my non-shockers here. The first 2 CDs that I ever had in my car when I got my license that were on repeat.
Michael English.
Yes. Reliant K and Beautiful Letdown Switchfoot. Those were my 2 records that I could listen to front to back and never get tired of ever.
You know all the words.
That's my Achilles heel.
I thought your Achilles heel was you didn't listen to music.
I'm gonna
Well,
play
I
5
have
seconds of
multiple.
a song right now, and you have to choose.
Pick a key.
I can't wait to lose this.
All right, Deshaun Watson, pick which Achilles heel you're.
Oh Lord!
Okay, Taylor, you do it.
Oh, I'm next. Okay.
Yeah, why not?
Congratulations.
Cool. Well, I want to just preface this by saying I'm not gonna punk out and use or Beautiful Letdown
Thank you.
because I feel like those are such good albums.
I feel like everyone agrees on those.
Yeah, I mean those are. They can just be there.
Damn, he just called you out.
I do.
I know, dude.
Well, also because you used them. I'll just say
Thank
I'm
you.
not going to use them because he used them.
Thank
Does
you.
that sound better? So in no particular order, another Amberlin album, but my favorite was Cities.
Oh.
Dude,
I love that album.
we all have Amberlin albums, and mine is also different.
That's awesome.
Oh, that's actually
great.
sick.
Next one is Hawk Nelson, Letters to the President.
Yes.
That's fair.
That type of
Shout out
like,
Grace Graber.
punk music, I was really into at that time when that album came out. I remember that was shortly after I got my license, and I remember going to I was homeschooled, and so I did biology class at one of my friend's mom's houses.
At a Wendy's.
At a Wendy's. And I remember
Got that frosty coupon book, boy.
I remember when that album came out, pulling up. I had a red Jeep Grand Cherokee, V8 engine, Flowmaster exhaust. I told you, like country dip in the lip, mow the lawn.
yeah.
And I remember just blaring Hawk Nelson out the window of that, pulling up to biology class. This one is probably, if I had to order the ones that I'm going to say, this is probably the top. But Emery, The Question, for sure. That's like front to back for me every time. I can't listen to just one song on that album when I listen to it. If
Yeah,
I
that's
can't.
fair.
I listen to that thing all the way through.
And that album is 20 next year.
Yeah.
Oh.
Chasing Victory, Fiends.
Oh,
I
okay.
love that album
Yeah.
a lot.
Okay.
I didn't really love any of the other Chasing Victory stuff as much as that. Like, that was one of those for me. If you ever, I don't know, listen to a band and you like have this one album that you're like, oh my God, I love this whole album. And then the next album is like, I like some of this, but I just want to go back and listen to
Yeah, that's fair.
the other album. And then my last one, and then I have an honorable mention. My last one is Phenomenon, 1,000 Foot Crutch.
Nice.
Oh, okay.
So
Wow.
into that. Throw up your rock fist.
Yeah.
If you're feeling it.
Hey, yo.
And then honorable mention, Kids in the Way, Apparitions of Melody. We were talking before we started recording. That's kind of like a, I don't know, it's a lesser known thing maybe.
Yeah,
I don't
I've
feel
never
like-
heard of it.
I don't feel like
You never heard of Kids in the
Way.
Way?
No, I have not.
They weren't as
Is
big
that the album with
as
Phoenix with a Heartache on it? That's a great song.
for
Someone doesn't listen to the playlist thing.
Yeah.
I did it on Thursday.
I don't remember because I actually bought two of their albums.
The little
Maybe
BOGO.
that one and the one before it at the same time, like when I found them in Family Christian or whatever.
Yeah.
But that was the first band to me that I had found that was in the Family Christian bookstore that was like a little bit darker emo stuff, and that kind of like opened up a door to me that I really enjoyed and hadn't been able to experience before. So that was cool, just to see them doing different things. There's a YouTube video of them playing like in a pizza restaurant, and it looks like the stage is about the size of this table.
Yeah.
And I still watch that thing probably like once a year.
Oh,
It's
wow.
just cool to see. I don't know. Not that music isn't good now, because we're playing music now, and so, but it's cool to see like back in that time, music had something that I feel like has been lost in some ways. That it was just like there were teenagers, people showing up in a pizza restaurant, just
Oh yeah, dude, we
like,
would show up anywhere.
screaming at the top of their lungs. Like we all went to shows in like the most random places where it was like
We're gonna touch on this a lot in the next episode.
yeah. And so, anyways, Kids in the Way, Apparitions Melody, great album.
Ryan, I love that that's his annual YouTube watch because I know ours is Jamie Foxx playing piano in his comedy routines, and then God Bless the Broken Road at the Opry.
The amount of times I've watched
My
God Bless the Broken
God.
Road at the Opry.
So good.
That's so funny. All right, here's my top
I
5.
also watched the T-Pain Tiny Desk.
Bro.
Dude, oh my god.
So good.
Oh my gosh.
He was my favorite Christian artist.
I saw this video with T-Pain talking about, I don't know if y'all know this, but he was supposed to have a song out with Michael Jackson.
Oh, really?
Really?
I didn't know
It's
that.
T-Pain, Usher, and Michael Jackson.
Ooh.
And supposedly one of the interns at the studio leaked it, and Michael was like, nope, I'm out.
Oh, wow.
But like you can hear it. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's Michael.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right, my top 5. I'm going to not do these in a particular order because it clearly, if you've listened to our band or you're here somehow because you know who we are already, it's my number one's I've said it a million times on different things. I've told them, they know. This is not a thing that is new to anyone. Okay, number 2, I guess, in this thing is going to be an interesting one because...
Oh, it's in order now.
Well, it's kind of... Define the Great Line.
Great album.
Yeah.
Okay, and here's why. Because they're only chasing safety. I could almost put in this boat. The problem is I heard Define the Great Line. I want to say I heard it all the way through first.
Same.
Because I heard bits and pieces of They're Only Chasing Safety at like shows, and I had it on LimeWire. I had most of that album on LimeWire. But dude, I had a version of Mr. Brightside by the Killers that the day I bought it on iTunes, I was like, yo, this is different than what
Oh, yeah.
The version I had was a little bit different.
Where's the rap part?
Yeah, you get those
It
demos,
was
dude.
T-Pain. I thought T-Pain.
Oh, yeah.
But Define the Great Line was the first one I heard all the way through from Under Oath because I got at a Christian bookstore. I remember seeing I was at my friend Nathan's house, and I remember watching the Writing on the Walls music video.
Yeah.
So that to me, for a nostalgia purpose, is that. But I mean, I don't have to tell anyone this. That run of Define the Great Line through Lost in the Sound is just perfect records.
Yeah.
In a row.
Yeah.
To steal one of yours, The Question. Perfect album.
I feel like The Question is part of the reason why we're friends.
It is 100% a big part of the reason why we're friends. I that is my all-time favorite Emery record. That is even outside of like the youth group space, because I can start adding in like Beach Boys records and stuff like that into my top 5. The Question is still there.
Yeah.
It's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
That album, I went to they do those like acoustic shows. Emery does. And I went to the last one they did in Nashville, and I was like, how did you guys, like, why is there 2 lead singer? Why there's all these harmonies? And I grew up listening to the Beach Boys because of my late grandfather. So to hear a band in that space do all the stuff that I think the 3 of us do a lot of now.
Yeah.
If you don't know, like all the harmonies and stuff that are on all of our music, it's the 3 of us singing everything.
Yep.
And it's a playoff of Emery, but it's a really huge playoff of my love of the Beach Boys. Because I made a beach record at one point.
Yep. I was there.
Very, very tons of layers and stuff like that.
We reference that a lot when we write.
Yeah, we do. Like a lot of songs have like beachy shaped chords. So the question is, okay, my Anne Boleyn record. Do you want to guess what it is, Thig?
I don't know.
I think you know.
What
is
it?
I don't know.
It's not Cities, and it's not Never Take. Those are both great records, don't get me wrong.
I don't know.
But I think New Surrender is a
New
perfect
Surrender, yeah.
record.
Hey.
And I know, do not come for me in the comments, I know Feel Good Drag on Never Take is probably better. That's fine, but New Surrender, we get into like Young Life and Hate Street, also starting heavy with The Resistance, like...
Right.
That album, more so than anything for Amberlin, took me on a full musical journey, and I really appreciate that. It was 2009, I believe, so it was on the back end of like this era that we're talking about, but man.
Right.
I was still in high school, so it counts. Amazing, amazing record. All right, here is my plot twist record.
Oh, no.
It's not an emo band. It's not a hardcore band. Anybody want to take a guess what it could be?
Veggie Rocks.
It's my honorable mention.
Is it a Toby record?
It is a Toby record.
Yeah, that feels good.
Which one?
It's Diverse City.
Yeah.
Listen to me, dude.
Oh, absolutely, brother.
When this man, Tobieth Mac, when this man came to Carowinds with Reliant K and had monitors that were not monitors, that were trampolines, and they started doing backflips off everything, I was like, yo, this is the craziest thing I've
He
ever
was
seen.
64 years old at the time.
This is very true. This is confirmed by the Book of Enoch.
Yeah.
Oh my
There it
God.
is.
Oh no.
No, dude, his stage show was amazing. His music was amazing because what Toby did back then, and I hope this doesn't get me any trouble for saying this now, because I could say this about a lot of bands, even though we're not probably arguably the most creative. Toby's music back then did things that I don't think anyone in secular or whatever world could think of.
Yeah, it was finally someone who wasn't a carbon copy of the worldly.
He wasn't the
representative.
Christian version of anything.
He was. He found something.
Yeah.
I think.
And I know this is going to be a hot take too, but people are like, oh, DC Talk, DC Talk, DC Talk. DC Talk's fine. Toby's better. Those first early Toby records are better than anything DC Talk put out. Don't care.
Woo!
And the first early Toby records are what set up the foundation for a lot of kids in youth group to explore other genres. Because dude would have like Atmosphere has a nylon guitar, has a classical guitar in it.
Yeah.
And then you have like
Irene is very...
dude shreds. I remember watching him live like, yo, this dude. Yeah. And then you have stuff like Boomin' with like these heavy like these heavy guitars.
Yeah.
And then he has like all these moments of like different early Toby could articulate exactly what he wanted to say, and somehow he could be on the nose and it not be cheesy.
Yeah.
I mean, with CCM, there's always going to be some sort of cheese. The cheese is there, but his dude,
Yeah.
I was eating it.
And his BGV arrangements, dude.
I was eating that cheese, man.
Toby had that Gouda.
And that mac and cheese?
Bro, he had that
Toby,
can.
Toby
that,
mac and cheese.
Oh Lord,
Toby
you
mac and
cheese whiz?
cheese.
Why didn't he sell mac and cheese?
Toby mac and
Bro.
cheese. Hey, yo,
New merch
goatee,
item.
hit me
Toby.
up about that.
Come on.
I think that I went to a lot of Acquire the Fire, other Christian...
I can't wait to talk about Acquire the Fire the next
Yeah, it's
episode.
gonna be great. Other organized
scared.
mass Christian events, and saw a lot of different artists that way. But I would argue to say that even, and that's like through life, even now, I think that seeing Toby Mac perform live was the best live performance by any Christian act that I've ever seen.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I just think like if you consider all the elements involved.
Production was perfect.
It was all perfect. Choreographed, visual elements, even vocally, everything that they did was so
And
great.
I understand the Newsboys with the spinning drum thing is hard, but also it's been 20 years
and they're still doing it.
and they're still doing the same thing. And I'm just like, all right, dog, if you're trying to get new people involved here.
I think
Yeah.
even their band members got tired of it. They all quit.
Yeah. Exactly. It's like, how long are we going to spend this band for?
It's like church and a band.
Yeah.
Don't change it. Don't
What?
change it. I'm
Church
saying
and
that you
a
haven't changed it in 20 years.
Oh, yeah.
Ain't no church going to change things.
still works. People still say.
But dude,
Yeah.
man, Toby's innovation is one of the most underappreciated things from all, especially on our side of things, the emo and all that other stuff. But
Yeah.
dude, it's very. You might be able to hear it now, but it is 100% influential to Whitsett. 100%.
Yeah.
Momentum was also amazing. Portable Sounds also amazing.
Absolutely.
That early Toby stuff is unmatched by
Okay,
a lot
so
of things.
we didn't prepare for this, but one band that's maybe not in the Christian world that would fit on this list, or one album that would fit on this list for you, what would it be? Mine is, I'm gonna say, A Lesson in Romantics, Mayday Parade for me. That's that's
So it doesn't have to be genre.
no,
genre?
yeah. I mean that's
I was
canon
scared
for me.
to say.
I have like 3 in my head. I want to make sure I get.
I was scared to say Weathered by Creed.
Oh my gosh.
I thought you meant like it was still reaching to Christian.
No,
now.
I mean just like
But Weathered by Creed.
yeah. I'm saying like outside of.
Yeah. I mean, A Lesson is. It's a perfect record.
Yeah.
Man, this is gonna be tough for me. There's like 3 specific records for me. And this is my cheesy record. Is Ben Rector Magic I just freaking loved it.
What is that though?
You said it didn't have to be from the same era, right?
Yeah, I mean, just
It could be from any time?
You're just adding it to the list, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely have more modern things because, like I said, I wasn't a very good music listener all the time. But Ben Rector Magic, what is Casey's big record? Is that
Golden Hour?
Yeah, Golden Hour. I mean, just as far as just a listening experience, phenomenal and a freaking masterclass of acoustic symphonies. And then there's this, I believe she's Swedish artist called Leon. I think it's the Hope Is a Heartache record. I believe that's the record. But that, and for me, I tie record. Ryan's gonna make fun of me. I know.
No, I just saw something funny looking at records. But go ahead.
I mean, for me, which I think is what music is for a lot of people. Like I tie when I listen to records where they meant the most to me, and a lot of those records meant a lot to me in different times of my life, and we could go Nickelback. Photograph made me cry in middle school when my mom made me move schools.
What was the album with the teardrop on it? This is how you remind me.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's a hot take.
I love that Nickelback and Creed are coming back. I just want to.
That's a hot take. Those are some of the Nickelback records were some of the best mixed. They were bad to the bone, bro. I'm sorry. I don't care what you think. They were mixed so well. Do it.
Okay, I'm not gonna steal Golden Hour, but I would definitely put that.
I know
on the
you would
list.
agree.
Pat Sounds, Beach Boys. It is perfect masterclass in production. There has never been a record like that record, and
listen to the passion in his voice.
I know he started
there's
preaching.
Never been a record.
Table.
Calm down, Mark Driscoll.
I'm gonna cuss at you if you want me to. There's never been a record like that record. The friendly rivalry that started with the Beatles because of the two of them trying to outdo each other is one of the most important musical moments I think in music history.
Yeah.
But Pet Sounds is the one that really got it going. And then I'm a huge Brian Wilson fan. I've seen Brian. I saw him a few years ago, and we talked earlier at lunch about being able to see people while they were still alive. Hated not seeing Prince, hated not seeing Michael.
Agreed.
I got to see Brian, and man, dude, 11 people on stage. I think there's 10 or 11, and it's perfect.
Which is such a dead art, honestly. I mean, it really is.
Oh my gosh, we're never gonna do that.
Put it in the tracks.
Never say never.
Oh.
Yes, as the one who knows where the numbers go, we're never gonna do that. Pet Sounds 100% is gonna be on there.
Yeah,
all right,
great.
you're gonna know if you're gonna go with me on this. Dusk and Summer, Dashboard Confessional.
Yeah.
Oh my Lord.
Yeah.
You want to talk about how young Ryan was trying to get a girl? It was like, hey yo, let me play Vindicated for you real quick.
Yeah.
You seen Spider-Man?
You're gonna love this.
That to me, I will say this. We don't have to do this whole thing, but my favorite all-time songwriters, Matt Thiessen, and right beside it is Chris Carrabba.
Yeah.
That early era of Chris Carrabba, no one to me could show pain the way Chris did and make it so relatable.
Yeah.
I could almost compare him to Laney.
Yeah.
Or how is that the right way to say Laney? Because Emma always corrects me.
Yeah.
I think it's fine. I think that's the general pronunciation for us.
Laney's always so on the nose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's perfect because it's him.
Mm-hmm.
Chris could say things in Swiss Army Romance era that was just so on the nose, but it was just the way he sang it and everything else like that. So to me, he's a generational songwriter to me that I would love to have on this podcast at some point.
Yeah.
And then my last one. Oh, I have so many.
Got that growl in him.
But I'm going to go one way out of left field. It's called Up All Night by Kip Moore.
Hey, bro. Come on, dog.
It's a country record.
Let's go.
That record is amazing. If you feel like getting your boots on.
Can you do your Kip Moore impression?
No, I'm not going to do it. But if you feel like putting your boots on for a few minutes and listening to it's almost kind of like country ambient worship.
Yeah.
He was the first one to really kind of do that.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of RV5, a lot of spacey guitars.
And then following that, the Wild Ones. I mean,
yeah.
Jesus, it was just so good.
And yes, that was a amazing record for us, and growing up and doing country music.
Yeah.
And that was my gateway to be like, hey, yo, country is all right.
Dude, Crazy One More Time. I mean, we played that for
Years. Song about a truck.
It's still on a set list I have to play sometimes. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. I will say this too, like yes,
please don't.
Like this, like the Beautiful Letdown. Yes, is my number one. But
I forgot. Yeah, Beautiful Letdown. That was a good one.
Yeah, it's
those
amazing.
guys.
But like being a kid who, like we talked about, who were kind of pushed to be a certain way from our parents and what we could listen to and what we couldn't listen to, and people who weren't over the top with their faith, but made it known where they came from. And I just remember being a kid and seeing Meant to Live on freaking MTV and VH1, and I just remember being like, I was appalled. I could not believe that someone who loved Jesus got to be on MTV. I mean, that's why it meant so much, because I was like, holy, that and Dare You to Move and stuff. I was just like, holy cow, like it's possible to, because everyone at that time, I know you probably heard this a lot, about being in the world and not of it and all that good stuff. And I
heard it too.
I know you heard it too, but as far as
I've been to church.
You didn't know that the Holy Spirit was a gentleman.
Yeah,
so.
You sure didn't. You sure didn't.
We weren't sure if you were saved.
We were more focused on making sure the jacket's covered legs.
We were more focused on the assemblies of God. Thus saith the Lord, I am. And it was always the same message,
we're
brother.
Gonna get in trouble.
I know. I don't care, dude. I mean, I was there. I can tell you right now, there's a lot of real great things and a lot of interesting things. And,
sure.
Anyways, we're gonna go way off.
I love that that's what you think's gonna get us in trouble.
Yeah.
We're gonna, like I said earlier, man. The likelihood that we're gonna say something, or someone's gonna say something that you don't necessarily agree with, or like, it's kind of the point here. Just everyone's a person. Everyone's cool. We can hang and still not see completely eye to eye on things.
Yeah.
The three of us, don't see eye to eye on everything. He's wrong almost all the time.
He's also a little bit taller.
Oh yeah, he helped us put these drapes up. I couldn't get them. I'm 5'9",
different
baby.
vantage point.
And I touched the rim once. It was before I was married. It was bigger. Oh gosh! All right, we're gonna wrap this episode here. Join us. I'm not quite sure of our scheduling of how we're putting this out right now. I think it's going to be every 2 or 3 weeks. I live in Nashville. These other two guys live in North Carolina. So we want to do every episode, if possible, in person.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's one thing that. Did I start Ableton? I'm pretty sure I did.
Please God.
I'm pretty sure I did. But that's one thing that we didn't.
I don't think so. Maybe you did. It's fine.
All right. Well, let's wrap it just in case, and then we'll not if we have to. One thing that we value is trying to be in the same room for this, especially with our guests as well. So many podcasts are just done, via Zoom and stuff like that, and that's cool and that's fine. I've got no issue with that, no problem with that. But I love the idea that we could eventually all be in the same room. And now that I'm thinking about it, I'm pretty sure I didn't start Ableton. But if we did, hopefully we did. If we did start recording, then this was episode 1, and we'll see you for episode 2.